1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Hey listeners, welcome back to part 2 of this episode. I'm Ricky.
I'm Brittany.
And we are
Paper Screen.
So let's just dive right into it. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Crazy Rich Asians. Again, the reason why I wanted to talk about this movie is because it also kind of connects with the generational trauma. Mm-hmm. And also, being an Asian American, I can relate to this movie. And also Michelle Yeoh.
And she's a very different character in this one.
Yeah, she's a very different character. I would say she's like the dragon lady mother. Mm-hmm. We'll talk a little bit more about why that is. So overall, like, this is a beautiful movie, especially being produced by Hollywood. This was like basically the first all Asian cast movie since like Joy Luck Club.
Which phenomenal movie, phenomenal book.
Oh my God.
Gonna give a shout out to Amy Tan. We love you. She's in a band with Stephen King or something.
I didn't know that was a book.
Yeah, I actually like put it back at a little library or something. But I've got 2 of her other books. Anyway,
do they connect with each other? Or are they
I haven't read them yet, so I don't know. I was just gonna say it's the main like crew is also Asian, just like on the top level, like director, writer, right?
Yes.
Is the editor?
I'm not sure. No.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think because they shot in parts of China, like they did have like an Asian crew. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, like, this is produced by white people.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, what studio?
Warner Brothers.
Oh, okay.
I'll just like talk about the synopsis and then the cast and crew. The story is a contemporary romantic comedy based on the global bestseller novel. Follows native New Yorker Rachel Chu to Singapore to meet her boyfriend Nick Young's family. And she soon discovers that her boyfriend's family is filthy rich. It's starring Constance Wu from Fresh Out the Boat, Henry Golding, who was also in A Simple Favor.
So say he's in
Last Christmas.
Last Christmas.
Yes. And then Aquafina. We know her from
Nora from Queens.
Nora from Queens.
Excellent show.
Michelle Yeoh, which we already we don't need a name.
She
Legend.
needs no introduction.
No introduction. Gemma Chan, who was in Eternals, and a bunch of other people that you might recognize. There's just too many people.
Yeah. The one I want to give one shout out, Mateo his name is Nico Santos.
Oh, Nico Santos. Oh my God, I forgot he was in this.
Yeah, but did you watch Superstore?
No, I've seen it. Okay. Everyone says that I look like him or like act like him, and I'm like, I don't know if I should be offended.
So I think it's the mannerisms, and he's kind of the mannerisms. Like it's not a bad. I don't think it's a bad thing, and he can be, I don't know, like he can
sassy.
be kind of like sassy, like, but I don't think you guys like look alike or have a ton in common.
It's the Gaysian thing.
It's the Gaysian thing.
This is directed by John Chu, who he directed In the Heights, which is a musical based on.
I think it's a Broadway. No.
Yeah. What's its name? He did Hamilton.
Oh,
Lin-Manuel.
Lin-Manuel. Yeah.
Yeah. So him and Lin-Manuel worked on In the Heights, and he's also directing the new Wicked movie.
Oh, really? With Ariana Grande?
Yes.
Wow.
This is written by Peter Chiarelli, Adele Lim, and Kevin Kwan, who also wrote the book.
So, what about us taking an adventure east?
You want to get pork buns in the East Village. That's what it is, isn't it?
I was actually thinking of further east.
Like Queens?
Like Singapore, for spring break. Colin's wedding. We've been dating for over a year now, and I think it's about time people met my beautiful girlfriend. Come on. I'm Colin's best man. Don't you want to see where I grew up? Meet my family, my ama, and meet up with that strange college roommate of yours.
Take Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
She has been begging me to come visit her, you know.
The universe has spoken. It wants you over there. Come to Singapore. I want the whole island to meet the brilliant Rachel Chu.
Let's talk about our movie experience.
Yeah.
So, Brittany, what did you think about Crazy Rich Asians?
So I think my sister told me it was really good. And I think on like a trip home or something, I watched it, like I rented it or something.
Oh, on the plane or?
I don't think so. I think it was at, my sister's place or something. But I remember I cried and I was not expecting to. And that was like I think because I thought the movie was going to be more like Sex and the City because of how wealthy everyone is, like the location. I mean, and it has that look of like the first Sex and the City. Like it looks like a fucking wealthy production. Yeah. Everything is just like big.
It is like very exaggerated a little bit.
Yeah. Well,
but in a good way.
Yeah.
Just like it just looks like how Hollywood produces or their like portrayal of like rich.
Yes, because it does the same thing as Sex and the City where at no point can you physically in these locations or anything see imperfections. Like Sex and the City is like the most unrealistic New York you've ever seen.
Yeah, totally. Like even the new one.
Yeah. Oh man.
Let's not talk about it.
We're not going to get into that. So what was your experience?
So I remember first watching the trailer and was thinking like, this looks so cheesy. I was like, oh my God, this is like the first like all Asian cast movie. And they come with this like romantic comedy type. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I don't know. So then I heard that it was based on a book. So I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll give it a chance. Because like, if it's based on a book, there might be hope, Yeah. And I want to support like Asian cinema. So I bought the book and I really liked it. Mm-hmm. And it kind of reminded me of like Gossip Girl, Sex and the City type,
Yeah.
Meets like kind of reminded me of like Real Housewives and Gossip Girl. Yeah. When the movie came out, I was like, I cried. Yeah. And I was just like, I had a really good time seeing it. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what to expect just because like the trailer wasn't giving to me.
And I will say that what do you think about that? Like the way that it was portrayed, kind of like how most like those type, like Last Christmas, like it was kind of portrayed as this sort of blockbuster drama comedy. Did you like seeing that? Like it being portrayed like a Asian film, not being portrayed as
like kung fu martial arts stuff,
like not having those stereotypes that in America we've mostly been exposed to.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing is like Black Panther came out the same year as Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh, I didn't even realize
so
that.
It was like comparing those two movies, like, okay, Black people got Black Panther. Mm-hmm. And that was like a huge success because it was an action superhero movie. And then Crazy Rich Asians, they're like saying, oh, it's going to be like the new Black Panther. And I was like, no, it's not, because this is a romantic comedy. And I was like, I guess. But, I'm going to go out and support it anyways because Asian cinema.
Right.
And we like never see Asian people on screen. So that was the thing. I was like, this is supposed to be a huge thing for Asian people.
Mm-hmm. Just like to kind of tap onto that. That's like one of the things for any listeners, that's kind of like, as a white person, I can say I've had a lot of these conversations where people are like, but why does it like, why, like these kind of why questions, because like it's really hard for us to even conceive that like what it would be like to watch so many movies and television where we don't see ourselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there is that. And one of the ways you can kind of think of it is like why it's important, especially if you're not Asian or if you are whatever, or Black, to go to these films with this type of cast, because you're basically casting a vote, mm-hmm. Like, cause you're like, we'll get into it, but the box office, it's like, you should have done this sooner.
Yeah.
And so that's what's important about talking about this stuff. And I mean, they're good movies, but and just understanding like the issue with Hollywood.
Well, the other thing too, like I didn't mind that it was a romantic comedy. It was the fact that they're portraying Asians as rich people.
Yeah.
Because that's not true. Mm-hmm. And like for this movie to say Crazy Rich Asians, like it's screaming like, oh, these people are like privileged or mm-hmm. whatever. And I don't I don't fit into that category.
Right.
So I wasn't as excited to see the movie, but when I did go see it, it was really good. And I will say I saw it 4 times.
Damn. In the theater?
In the theater.
Wow.
I went with a group. I was like, my friends, I was like dragging people to come with me. I was like, we need to go see this now.
That's awesome.
So I was like, take my money, take my money. And then after I saw the movie and read the first book, I went to go buy the second book.
Which came first for you?
The book? Or
Yeah.
no,
the
I
book
read
or
the book
movie?
first.
Oh, you did?
Then,
Okay.
And then I saw the movie.
Did you read the book because the movie was being made or?
Yes.
Okay.
So I decided to get the book because I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, I'll read it. In my mind, when I was reading it, I was thinking about the actors playing these characters. So I was like imagining like Henry Golding as Nick in the book and yeah, I was like, okay, I'm ready for the movie.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah.
She did so well as like the dragon lady mom.
Right.
But yeah, I cried, especially that wedding scene. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. And I think too, for this to be like such like a huge like Asian film, that I'm sure a lot of Americans were like, that was a kind of, this is like going to be their first big experience, because Joy Luck Club came out in the 90s, like so. But I think the film, one of the for me, like not having parents that immigrated here or anything, it was really cool to see like the experience of Constance's character when being thrown into the culture that she was not raised, but she is. Like for me it was like cool to like really get that perspective. Because it seems terrible, honestly. Yeah. Like the you don't belong here. Like, I mean, that seems, I think I would imagine that's really important for people, like really important to see that like representation. And
that's like one of the things I wanted to talk about in this movie is that like Rachel's character being Americanized and myself being Americanized, going to a foreign country that like you expect you be welcomed because you're Asian. Mm-hmm. But no, you're like not one of us because you didn't grow up here and like you don't even like speak like us. Mm-hmm. You don't look like us. You don't dress like us. Like it's, I don't know, you just feel like you don't belong. And I could relate to Rachel's character and the mom too, like, that's funny because like Eleanor is her name. Michelle Yeoh's character is Eleanor. Eleanor Evelyn. Yeah. It is like too much. So Eleanor, played by Michelle Yeoh, she plays this like mean mother. And in Asian culture, like it's very common for a mother to be like that because they're protective of their children and they want the best for them. Mm-hmm. And
so you're talking about the experience of being raised in America as an Asian and how you don't feel like you quite belong in Asia, in America, like the kind of ping pong.
Yeah. And it's just like, where do I belong? Where do I fit in? Mm-hmm. And like, there's like groups in America where I feel the same way because I'm not Asian enough or, it's hard. It's hard to be Asian.
Well, and I think that's like something that's really interesting too with Asia is, if I'm not mistaken, that's some of the longest. China has some of the longest recorded history, like written history, I think. Just as far as the continent goes, the migrations and takeovers of countries within countries and the influence, like even the relationship between Japanese and Koreans, like that's a really like,
those cultures, like
because of their history and it's just really fascinating. I do really wish we had learned a lot more like global history in school, because I'm like learning a lot of it now and I'm like, why not learn all this? It's like,
exactly. Like you were saying, like in the last couple episodes, like we don't learn enough about Black history, even in cinema, like in anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. Oh, talk about the budget.
Okay, so they had a $30 million budget.
Oh.
Which I was like, okay, that's pretty decent. I'm like, okay, it makes sense.
I can see that.
Why it looks expensive.
But then how much did they make? How much did they rake in?
$238 million.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So that's a $30 million budget. So they made $208 million more than the budget, and 174 plus million was just in the United States and Canada, and then 64 million elsewhere.
Yeah.
So
Worldwide.
yeah. Yep. So yeah, again, hey, studios.
Right. Well, it was like number one for like 3 months, I think.
Oh, really?
Maybe.
What year was it? Was it like 2015 or something? 2016? No.
2018.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the movie came out in 2018.
That's like so much more recent than it feels.
Same year as Black Panther. Because Black Panther came out, what, February of 2018?
Oh, I don't remember what month it was.
So it was like number one for a while. And then I think they like finally announced like they wanted to do the sequels.
Yeah.
These people aren't just rich, okay? They're crazy rich. Look, there's new money all over Asia. We got the Beijing billionaires, the Taiwan tycoons, but the Young family, they're old money rich. They had money when they left China in the 1800s, and they went all the way down here. Not there, here. They came to Singapore when there was nothing but jungle and pig farmers. There was a snake here eating an apple. You know what I mean? And they built all of this. Now, they're the landlords of the most expensive city in the world. Here you go. These people are so posh and snobby, they're snotty.
Okay, let's talk about like the movie and like what we liked. Certain scenes that stuck out to us.
It just kind of like looking back at it, like I think a big part of watching it was just like, wow, everything looks so, like all the homes, oh my God. Like all the houses, like when they get to Singapore, they're in Singapore, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like everything is just like, holy shit. Like,
Yeah.
and I love, like they look like houses that have history. And those are like my favorite kind of houses, even in the United States. Like they just look fucking awesome. And like in this movie, they're like crazy rich. So they're like, I mean.
Yeah, when we get to Aquafina's character, I forgot what's her name. Oh my God.
I was gonna say, doesn't her cousin or uncle call her Asian Ellen or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look like Asian Ellen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that scene.
But yeah, I really like the way it looked, just because it's fabulous, you know? And like even like, I don't know if it's someone else's wedding or a dance of some sort.
Oh, with the garden.
Yeah.
They're all in
The
like
Roaring 20s.
Yeah, they're like Roaring 20s themed.
Flappers or something.
Yeah, like that was the reception of the wedding.
Yeah, and like that, I mean, it's just gorgeous. And again, it's one of those things where I'm watching it and I'm like, that probably cost $10 million just to get this scene. Like, it's crazy. So I really enjoyed that. And then, yeah, not knowing anything about the movie, I thought it was great. Yeah, I think it was just really overwhelming seeing the wealth.
Yeah.
You know, and like even when they're on that I don't know, is it a cruise ship or is it just a party ship, you know? Are there, like,
when they're on that
planes?
Yeah, they're like on this private helicopter and it lands on this
yacht
ship. It's like secretly a giant like EDM party.
Yes. Yeah, like it was just such a cool, I don't know, like that all that was really fun. Looking back at this film and rewatching scenes, I really think it was neat how they showed Rachel's journey, right? And how her and Eleanor kind of face off.
Yeah.
Like that's an awesome scene, but I didn't catch this the first time, but watching it again, there's these little wrinkles where you feel for Eleanor.
Yeah.
You know?
And it ties back to the generational trauma because Eleanor is pretty much treating Constance or Rachel like how her mother-in-law treated her.
Yeah. Yeah. And I actually will say, like at the beginning, because so when she like first is finding out that he's from a wealthy, like, what do you call it? Like a state, or because his family's wealthy, influential, a prestigious family. Like I can't remember what it's called, but
royalty.
like, but not royalty, but some, I don't know. But anyway, I think it was really shady and shitty for him not to mention that to her.
Yeah. Cause like when we were first introduced to him, he looks like a normal person. Yeah. Like he's not dressed like he's wealthy. He's got like a hoodie with like a jacket on. Like,
yeah. He's like assimilating to like the Western. I think just like the depth you get to peek into with Eleanor and Rachel was really, really cool, you know? And I think it helps even just like with Henry's character having to, you know, think about what he chooses for his life and everything. It's cool to kind of just see that perspective, you know, like do you take on your family's expectations to have this very, very wealthy, lavish life, you know, keep that pride, you know, honor is the word I'm looking for. Or do you go for love? Yeah. You know, it's like, ooh. It's like Romeo and Juliet.
And that's the thing is that like he goes to America to go become an American. Yeah. Or tries to, because he wants to escape that world of like superficialness. And
I just like thought of Do Revenge. I thought of because you're saying, remember the guy in that when he says that he's like, you know, I have all this stuff, but all I really want is to like whatever, and like how like you're super rich and stuff, and you like romanticize being normal, quote unquote, you know.
Oh yeah, that's funny. I don't remember that part.
Oh yeah, it's when he's like trying to flirt with whatever
Maya.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I liked this movie. Like made me hungry.
Oh my god, dude!
There's like so much food in this movie that like I went to order like Singapore noodles from like a restaurant. Yum. One of the things that I liked about this movie was there was so much culture and food that they incorporated into the story that like you really kind of learned more about like where they were.
So when we were talking about Eleanor's mother-in-law, who you find out has put even worse pressure and criticism on Eleanor. Yeah. But she gets, when we are kind of introduced to her and seeing her and Eleanor interact, she just says like, your dumplings are kind of shitty. Yeah. And it's like, you can tell it's like the stab. Yeah. The stab to Eleanor. So I Googled like, you know, dumplings. I think because I swear I'd watched another movie. Did you watch The Farewell? Mm-hmm. Is there a whole scene about like learning to make dumplings?
I know there's like cooking involved in that.
Okay. I know there's another movie I've seen where they're learning and it's like you have to get it perfect. But anyway, I looked it up and it was like saying that like dumplings represent wealth, prosperity, like all the like it actually like is a food that's supposed to represent a lot of which
there's
I thought
so
was
much
super
meaning.
interesting. Mm-hmm.
That makes so much sense because like that scene really stuck out to me just because like not only because the dumplings look really good, but like you're seeing like Rachel trying to create one and like I don't think she's ever done it before.
Maybe that's the scene. I'm like literally just thinking about this movie. I swear I've seen this.
Oh, do you remember when the grandma like meets Rachel and she's like, "You have an auspicious nose."
Yeah,
then she talks shit to Michelle.
Yeah, that was like so.
Your dumplings look like shit.
That's what I was like in my notes, and we talked about this, but like it was kind of really hard to watch people just be so cruel.
Yeah, but then like nice to like certain people. Yeah, it's like fake.
It is, and like so the grandma is straight up like she straight up grabs her face and is looking and examining her face. Yeah. And it's like there's something you kind of think, oh cute, like she's getting a good look at her, but then you know, you watch it with a clear mind and you're like, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. You know, and then makes a comment about her nose and just these weird, like so much judgment.
Yeah, I was gonna say that like Asians are judgy. Like even like the people that I know who are Asian, they're judgy. And I'm like, you're such a bitch.
No, that's the thing is like that character, Eleanor's mother-in-law, so savage.
Oh yeah,
you know, like I was like, she looks like this sweet old lady, and then you're just like, damn, like the whole movie. I'm like,
for some reason, I saw my grandma in her. Oh, like just how like gentle,
sweet she looks,
and then she like will stab you if you like.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that scene.
What were like the big scenes for you?
So circling back to like food, like there were a lot of scenes where they went to like the street market and like there's this whole like montage of them exploring like the city and like they're like rich, you know? Yeah. But they're also living lives as normal people because street food is not like, it's not a pretentious like fancy restaurant or something, you know?
It's attainable for everyone.
Yeah. Like they're going out to just explore and like learn the street.
Who are you talking about?
So the scene when Nick and Rachel arrive to Singapore and they meet up with their friend who's getting married, which their friends Colin and Araminta. But anyway, so they're at the street market and like getting food, and like it's just like a fun scene. One of my favorite scenes is the wedding scene. Just like how big and like extra it was. Like it like made me cry. Yeah. Especially because that song, the Elvis Presley one. Yes. It's like a cover, and it's by Kina Grannis, who's a YouTube star.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
Fool's Russian.
Is that what it's called? I thought it was called Can't Help Falling in Love.
Yeah. Well, I guess it might be called that, but isn't that the lyric? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That is such a beautiful song.
Yeah, so that song playing like during that wedding scene, and she's walking down the aisle and the fucking water is like,
oh my god, yeah.
They like stand up with the little butterfly lights. I was like, oh, this is so cute. And then there's that moment where like Rachel and Nick, like they like look at each other and like they just have this moment like this could be us one day. Yeah. But you know, we can't because your mother is like a fucking villain. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then funny thing is that Eleanor is watching them look at each other like side-eyeing like, you will never be enough. Yeah. And she says that at the dumpling scene.
Yeah, when she's going up the stairs. And that's such a... Because she kind of comes off as like, you know, kind of nice. But like then,
like she's like leaning like she's going to be more nicer to her. But
she's more like, kind of like, hi, but like just FYI, you're never going to marry my son.
Peasant.
And did you see like a sort of, you know, backward, unhealthy way of her trying to be protective toward like another Asian woman because she had to go into her family not being completely accepted and having to be ridiculed still. Did you kind of feel that or not really?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
like,
here's the thing about Eleanor is that she was also in Rachel's position because she didn't.
That's what I'm saying.
She didn't come from wealth.
Yeah.
So she like also just came in to the wealth because she married Nick's dad. Mm-hmm. And that's why grandma is like...
Right. And that's what I'm saying is like, it's almost like she is so become that in a way it's sort of like she's unable to like communicate or like relate properly, but it's sort of like, you'll never be enough. Like you don't want to put yourself through this. Do you know what I mean? That's like the vibe I got.
You asked about my ring. The truth is, Nick's father had it made when he wanted to propose to me because Amma wouldn't give him the family ring. I wasn't her first choice. Honestly, I wasn't her second.
Gosh, I'm so sorry. I had no idea.
I didn't come from the right family, have the right connections, and Amma thought I would not make an adequate wife to her son.
But she came around, obviously.
It took many years. And she had good reason to be concerned, because I had no idea the work and the sacrifice it would take. There were many days when I wondered if I would ever measure up. But having been through it all, I know this much. You will never be enough.
So heavy and deep. But like, did you want to talk about the mahjong scene?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay, so this scene was like very intense because it's two women pretty much battling against each other, but in a game of mahjong. And there's other women there. They're like cute little old ladies.
Yeah.
Just like listening into this conversation. It's just a really well done scene. I don't think this was like meant to be in the book. It wasn't in the book.
Oh, wow.
But this was, or maybe it was. Don't quote me. But, you know, it was like a really good scene, just like directed overall. And it's just like funny that like at the end of this game, Rachel, she lets Eleanor win the game.
Right. I think one of the reasons that the scene is so powerful is because Rachel is like, she's over it and she's like fearless and just like embracing who she is. And they're literally playing a game of strategy.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like really kind of exciting. And they're talking and like looking at each other, you know, while playing this game. and Eleanor's got such a powerful poker face, but you can see the things, Rachel is saying is hitting her.
Mm-hmm.
So Eleanor says, you'll never be enough. And then Rachel goes, is it because I'm not rich? Born rich?
Yeah.
And she goes, it's because you're a foreigner, an American. Americans only think about happiness. We know how to make things that last. Americans don't.
Yeah.
So I thought that was like pretty...
There's some truth to that, because we do believe that like America is like full of dreams and like like doing things for ourselves. Whereas like people in foreign countries, Asia specifically, like they really believe that like things should be passed down.
Yes.
And continue to pass down, so it's part of their legacy,
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of Asians really care about legacy so much.
Yeah.
Like I know that I get pressured about having kids and stuff, and like passing down my name, and it's a lot.
Yeah, and it's tough because like we hear about so much of that pressure, and like to never dishonor, that people will like literally take their own lives because they don't want to bring that dishonor to their family. And so and it's kind of like it's in that what you just mentioned about taking on everything and like your elders and stuff is, I do think that that's like kind of one of the big criticisms I have of the United States is how we treat the elderly.
Yeah.
It's like pretty disgusting and disturbing. And, I understand we all need to have like boundaries and all that, but it's like, you look at like Italy, multi-generational homes, and I'm sure Asia, I'm just not really positive about, where, but yeah. And here it's just like, oh, we'll put people in old folks homes.
Yeah.
Where they get abused. Like it's just really like, yeah, I think that, and that's like one thing I think with the, there's pros and cons to every country or whatever, but that's like one of the tragic things here.
Yeah. There's just like a lot of layers.
like an onion?
Like an onion. Aside from all that, like I loved the characters too, like Astrid, who's played by Gemma Chan, and she's like amazing in this. She looks amazing. Every scene that she's in, like she looks fucking gorgeous.
Especially, and I love that sequence. I love the sequence when he's talking about his family.
He's introduced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that part. And that scene actually was in the book is longer. Like you see
cool.
more of that.
Yeah.
Like you spend a lot more time with Astrid, like going shopping and like she's traveling and all that shit. When she like goes to that jewelry store and like they like lock it down, like, all right, I want this, whatever it was. And then she goes home to hide it from her husband because his character also can probably relate to Rachel because he also doesn't come from money. He's just like a peasant, and he married into Astrid, who does come from money, and then like he feels a certain way, like because he's supposed to be a man,
right?
He's supposed to be man of the house and like bringing in the money, but he's not. He has like a startup or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I felt like that storyline was interesting. It's kind of different from the book.
Rewatching Astrid's introduction and like going into the jewelry store and everything, she should play Carmen Sandiego.
Yeah,
wouldn't that
but
be
like
fucking epic?
But isn't she Latin?
I don't know. I've never watched it. I just remember like as a kid, it's this woman. She's a spy, I think. Red jacket.
Yeah.
And like a fedora. Yeah, I don't know if she's Latino though. Whatever. Then Gemma can play. She should just play like a espionage, like spy. You know what I mean? Like.
I feel like she has.
Oh really?
I don't know, but like I liked her in Eternals.
Yeah.
Although that movie was like.
Yeah. I know. It's weird how they...
We're not talking about it. So, back to Crazy Rich Asians.
I could tell you something I don't like.
Ooh.
I don't like Henry Golding.
Oh, here's a funny story. So we're going to move into fun facts now. So people didn't like that Henry Golding was cast in this movie.
Why is that?
Because he's half British, half Asian, half Malaysian.
He's not Asian enough.
Yeah. And that goes to what I was going to talk about earlier, was that like Hollywood was really trying to whitewash this movie. And I think they were talking about like replacing Rachel to be a white girl.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Imagine if they did.
Like
scandalous.
I would have been so angry.
Oh yeah.
Like Hollywood always tries to find a way to like whitewash movies, like with Asian people, like,
Right.
specifically.
The big one being Ghost.
Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
Well, not only that,
No, there's a lot more than that, but that I feel like that was like the big, like most like uproar
it was a
in
big
recent
fuck
years.
you. Yeah.
And then the movie like blew.
Bombed.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what other movies
There
that
was-
they whitewashed.
Well, movies that they whitewash.
I know that Emma Stone was like
She
supposed
plays
a quarter Asian or something, but I'm like, you don't even look, I guess.
I guess. I was gonna say I don't like Henry Golding because I don't like pretty boys like that. Like he has like the same look like pretty boy like Britney Spears' husband. I don't know why. Like pretty boys, you know what you get what I'm saying?
You know, I think he's handsome,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't think he was the hottest one in the movie.
Yeah,
I thought his friend was hotter.
yeah.
Just because like when I think of Asian men, I think like, you know, that look. But I mean, I think he's handsome.
That's the thing. He's like obviously attractive.
Mhm.
He's a pretty boy, but there's something about that just feels. I guess I have like prejudice against like that modelly look. I just feel like I don't trust you. I don't trust you with Rachel. You know what I mean?
Because you're half British.
Oh my god, I'm half
the British are coming.
I don't know. I just didn't really like him.
Did you like Awkwafina?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I
she's
really
a little exhausting
like in this movie.
in
or
this movie.
Oh, funny, because I think she's exhausting in general.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. But I really like Nora from Queens.
Me too.
I think it's a good balance, and I think she did a fabulous job in The Farewell.
Yeah.
Like she did I didn't even know she could,
serious actor.
do that movie, the end of that movie.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
That scene. Okay, we're not talking about that. But that scene.
Yeah, I don't know. It just because and then is it Ken Young? Yeah, he's one of Awkwafina's I don't know if he's like her uncle, but remember he shows up and he acts like he can't speak English or anything.
Oh yeah.
Like there was
Rachel,
something
choo, choo.
Yeah, like it was all funny and stuff, but like it was like Awkwafina. I think it was kind of jarring.
Yeah.
And so when you have like such a more serious drama, right? And then there's kind of these like very hyperactive like comedic roles. I don't know, it just kind of, I don't know.
I will say I was surprised by that character because
Mhm.
like she's different from the character in the book.
Okay.
But I'm glad that they like kept her around because she's like only in it for like a little bit in the book. But in the
Okay.
movie, she's like sprinkled in here and there.
Mhm.
And the blonde wig, I think they just like stuck with it. Like she's
Yeah.
actually supposed to have like several different types of wigs.
okay.
Like she's
Yeah.
like Nicki Minaj.
Okay. I mean, I'd honestly have to rewatch it. I just know that she's very like,
Yeah. But I think it was great that she was in it. Like she added like comedic relief and
Mhm.
like I love the scene when they pull up to the party and then like she opens up the back seat and like she has like different outfits.
yes,
And it
yes.
says like club or
Yeah.
something. And like everyone's like outfits were
Oh, yeah.
on point. Like I loved the costumes. The fashion was like really great.
Yeah, it was, I think because of like the wealth and everything, it just, everything looked more bold, like
Mhm.
bolder choices because you can like do it because you're fucking super rich. But yeah, and everything just, everything looked like thousands of dollars.
Yeah, for real. They did a really good job of like creating this world.
Oh yeah.
Because I would have never known. I mean, I didn't know like Asians were rich like that. So one of the things about the book that's like really different is that the ending of the movie. Spoiler alert, the ending of the movie, she does not get proposed on the plane.
Oh.
And she does not get a ring from Eleanor, like Eleanor's ring.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in the book. I think they did that for just
Yeah.
because it's Hollywood. They wanted
Right,
to get
right.
the Hollywood ending.
Mhm.
But I kind of liked it because it kind of sets up the sequel better.
Sure.
Also, Astrid's storyline,
Mm-hmm.
her husband is not cheating on her. He like made that up.
Oh.
So in the movie, they set it up like he is cheating on her. But in the book, he like hired someone to pretend to be like this girl that he's cheating with.
I don't remember that. Why?
I think it's because he wanted something for her to get mad about so that they could get divorced.
Okay.
He needed a reason to.
He wants out.
Yeah, because he felt like a lot of pressure from the family.
Mm.
Because he's like the man and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
it kind of sets up for the second book where like we see more of Astrid's storyline.
Yeah.
In the movie, there's a post-credit scene where they're at basically like there's like a party celebrating like their proposal. And then like Harry Chum Jr., who's also in Everything Everywhere All at Once, he's like showing up in a post-credit scene with Astrid. And he's supposed to be like this like guy that she used to have a fling with. But no, so they set up that storyline for the sequel for the movie. And HBO Max announced that they were going to do a spin-off just to focus on Astrid and that storyline, which I hope that happens. But who knows, because HBO Max is going through some changes. Discovery Plus.
When they said that, did they say it would be of Gemma Chan?
Yeah, I think she would reprise her role.
Okay.
For the other sequels, they had to put on hold because John Chu ended up, he went on to direct In the Heights.
Yeah.
And now he's doing Wicked. Gemma Chan ended up doing like Marvel and stuff. So she was like busy. Mm-hmm. Everyone else was like available, but because of like scheduling conflicts, like they couldn't get everyone back together. Mm-hmm. But I'm like waiting. Give me my movie.
Yeah. I was gonna say Constance Wu just had a memoir come out.
Yeah.
It's called Making a Scene. And I gotta say, whenever actors and singers have memoirs, they always get like the best titles.
Making a scene or breaking the scene?
Making a scene.
Oh.
It's a play on words, you know.
Have you read it?
No, but I know her. I'm sure we'll get into it, but no. So I looked at it actually yesterday. I was like, oh, do you guys have a copy? And they did, but only hardcover, and I don't really like hardcovers. You know.
So here's the thing. I don't know if you heard about the whole.
I think
drama.
I have. Yeah, I kind of like researched a lot of that.
The fresh off the boat thing.
Yep.
You know, she like basically like Me Too'd someone from the show.
Yeah. A producer.
Yeah, which I don't know who it was, but I have a feeling it was this guy. I don't know him, but
what did you like? How do you feel about that whole situation? Did you feel differently before the Me Too came out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say I was one of those people that were like, oh my God, you're so selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you should be grateful to be even having a show that you're leading pretty much. Had she said she was like sexually harassed by her producer, like she should have said that.
Yeah, there was kind of not a lot of context for people.
Yeah, but maybe because she didn't believe or she didn't think people would believe her. That's why she wanted out of that show. Hollywood's messed up. Mm-hmm. Now hearing her story, like I feel bad for her. And I'm glad to see her doing more things. And I actually saw her recently on stage.
Oh, cool.
At the Amazon Theater. Mm-hmm. They're showing this play called 222, which is like a horror suspense. It was really good.
This sounds cool.
Yeah. I went with my boyfriend and like he jumped several times. I mean, I jumped too.
Yeah.
And you know, horror is like hard to present on stage, but this was like, it was awesome.
That's cool. Are they touring?
No, but they have.
There's other productions.
There's other productions, and the original one has Tom Felton. Malfoy.
Okay, that's what I was like actually thinking.
Yeah, but that's like funny. The only British
Okay.
actor.
His book title, his memoir. Do you know what that's called?
Beyond the Wall.
Yeah.
Love that. The magic and mayhem of growing up a wizard. Interesting.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. All these Constance Wu's memoirs called Making a Scene and get it. So providing the context of, so she got kind of canceled, you could say. So this show, which is like about, you know, Asians that's like successful, got renewed. And she, if you don't know, she tweeted her emotional reaction, which was like, she was not happy about it. Yeah, I watched like some interviews with her and she was talking about how, and which is interesting because I think this circles into like just, you know, the pressures of Asian culture and everything and honor. But like a lot, she was like, there are like a lot of Asian actors and stuff like messaging her privately and saying like, basically like, you should be so ashamed and like, just like, so, you know, and so it was kind of like, so she's young. Mm-hmm. She's and I think that's the other thing, the kind of curse we have of having the ability to speak our emotions or put them online within a second without really like evaluating our behaviors, you know, or understanding what the consequences can be. But yeah, and then she just kind of like, and I think she had a baby. Yeah, I didn't
know she was pregnant.
I could be wrong, but I could have sworn she has a kid now, and like, I mean, watch, she doesn't. I'm just talking out of my ass. But yeah, I don't know. It just sounded really interesting that also like that sort of pressure of what she represented in that role on that show. Yeah. Because she would get messages like, this is my son's favorite show. And you just ruined it, you know, and like that kind of stuff and like all those layers.
Dude. Okay. Did you know like when she had to go to some award show? Mm-hmm. And to represent that show fresh off the boat. And she wanted to go for the kids. Yeah. And basically, she said that like Simu Liu like made a joke at the award show. She didn't even want to go because it was literally after that tweet she made. And she was like, oh God, all these people are going to ask me questions. But she told like the producers of the award show, like, please, like, I don't want anyone like talking about this. Yeah. And she was sworn by these people that nothing was going to happen or be said. Right. But then Simu Liu, who was like the host of this award show, basically made a joke, like a pun to Constance Wu. And it was just like such a stab into her heart. Like she trusted these people for like giving her their word.
I was going to say so now making the ring back to Everything Everywhere All at Once. So the lesson of just be kind because you don't know what's going on. Yeah. And that's like really, especially with Constance Wu, is like, and that's what I really don't like about like, I believe in like accountability culture. Like that's a term people use now, not so much the cancel culture, just because I think it's like, I think we need to just be a little bit more, and not for everything. Obviously there are things that are like very whatever, but you know, like she's young and tweeted something that came off really indecent in a lot of ways, but it's just like, well, knowing now why.
Yeah, I sympathize with her and I hope to see more stuff from her. Mm-hmm.
She's good.
I mean, she is doing good because she's got that production and she's also, I haven't seen that movie, but like Lyle Crocodile.
Oh my god, she's in that. She is. Dude, that movie looks so fucking terrible. But like
you're gonna go see it.
I want to see it because I don't know, but like Shawn Mendes can't stand that voice. The singing.
Is he the crocodile?
Yes, that crocodile sings. You didn't know that?
Is he just singing?
Yeah, I don't know if he talks, but he sing. It's like a musical. Javier Bardem's in it, I think, right?
Oh, is he the dad?
I think so.
And Constance is the wife. Anyways, circling back to like Hollywood and like how women are treated terribly. Mm-hmm. So Adele Lim, who was co-writer of Crazy Rich Asians, she had found out that like her colleagues were getting paid more, and these people were men. Mm-hmm. One of them was a white man. Okay, sorry, but I'm just saying, like, you know, Hollywood doesn't treat women fairly,
or people of color,
especially
like she's Asian, right?
Yeah,
the Asian screenwriter who's writing this Asian, you know, like, like you're gonna pay them less. It makes no sense.
So that's why she's not coming back for the sequels unless she gets paid more, and that was the reason they halted the whole production of the sequels.
So what were the cast and crew supportive of? I'm sure they were publicly.
Yeah, they were supportive, but you know, it sucks, but you got to fight for what you believe in.
Yeah, right.
I mean, Constance did the same thing. And and on that note, final thoughts.
It's a pretty good movie.
Beautiful movie, will make you cry. Mm-hmm. Everyone looks fucking gorgeous. Yep. Makes me want to eat.
If you want to escape.
And I want to go to Singapore or just Asia in general, because like I've never been like in Asia. And
you've never been in Asia?
No, that's like one of my goals is to just travel to Asia. Or I want to go to Laos because I want to know where my family came from. So that's one of my goals.
Yeah, I feel like you should have maybe spoken more about that.
What?
In the podcast. Just like you've never been to Asia.
It's okay. We'll talk about some other Asian movie and we'll talk. I'll bring it up again.
Yeah.
People are just learning about me, so.
Yeah, we're just getting a little peek into Ricky.
So, Brittany, where can we find you?
You can find me at humble_book reviews on Instagram. That's it. Ricky?
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at somecallme_Ricky. That concludes our episode.
Yeah, if you guys like this episode or want us to like focus on specific genres or whatever you have it, let us know. We want to know like what movies you want us to watch.
And on that note, see you next time. Bye.
Bye.